Hello and welcome to Reviews. Today is Halloween, and Hex Wives came out today. That was pretty clever on Vertigo's part to release this on Halloween. It worked out really well. This is the second book of the Vertigo Return, the Rebirth, and I wasn't sure if I was going to pick it up, and I couldn't resist, to be honest. With the timing. So let's go ahead. We'll take a look because I'm kind of conflicted on this book. Um, we start off. We got the cover here, which kind of reminds me of a Nagel painting. um, so it's really interesting. The story, starts out back in Salem, Mass. And we have a couple witches, women, of course, Nadia and Isadora, who are lovers, and they're basically being persecuted. The captioning that you'll see in the narration boxes is actually being done by the men, by one of the men, Aaron, who has been hunting them. So it's a really interesting thing. We have the witches versus the mortal men. Here we see a typical attempted drowning, um, and she gets rescued, pulled out, and why is it my cat always starts scratching when I'm making videos? So she gets rescued from the water, and there's some weird dialogue in this time where, goat knobbers, I do like that. He must be japing my ass. There's a good line in here where they use the phrase, swinging from our gonads. I did kind of get a kick out of that. Um, so yeah, drown, hang, stone, burn. They keep saving one another, so it's all for naught. For the good of man, we must try. So, um, so we got the three witches here, and Rebecca is the third one. She casts a wall of flame to keep them away, but one of the men shoots her. And so basically, what happens is when the witches of the coven die, they end up coming back, which we'll see in a bit here. So the women make their escape as they're killing the men that hunted them down, and it's really weird. The women, the witches, are being hunted because they're evil, and the men are, of course, being hunted because that's what the witches do. So I did have to put in a few little censors in here. There's a little bit of topless, and I don't want the YouTube overlords to jump on me. So here we are later. Now it's in the 18th century, and again, they're being hunted. um, so Isadora and Nadia found each other again, and like I said, when they die, they do get reborn. So find out that they're blood witches, and with more blood that gets shed, they get stronger. And it's even said that they have certain superpowers. Each one has a different ability. Although we don't really see too much of that. They say one can turn to stone, for example. So after she takes the knife to the tool to the horse to draw blood, they confront the men outside the barn. And yeah, then it just turns into another bloody battle. Um, the Coven leader, Isadora Roma, you know what her superpower is? It's a remarkable capacity for violence beyond any physical limitation. And it's so messed up. The more blood she draws, the stronger she gets. So yeah, you see, on top of that, each one has a superpower. One can turn to stone, one can talk to animals. Now, again, this is the narration of the guy. How reliable this may be an unreliable narrator. So they make their escape. They just burn everything down, and they mention how they're reborn. When they die, they go on to live their lives innocent as can be. Any woman anywhere might be a witch. The old lady mall walking in her cushioned sneakers, the Girl Scout selling cookies, your secretary. She goes on about her life, not knowing when the hell she is, until she makes the audacious choice to commune with the devil. Then she remembers all of it, her powers, the life she lived before, her coven, us. So now we're in the 19th century in the Wild West. Um, Isadora is looking for Nadia. Your girl Nadia isn't out there. Sorry, she hasn't turned. Maybe next time around. So yeah, as it says, when they do end up getting killed, they end up getting reborn. Yeah, I come for you for good news, June, not this shit. And one of the witch hunters, comes after them, and she ends up killing them. So, I know, it's time to go. And they're saying this is an affront to the women they resemble. They upset the natural order, an order it's our responsibility to restore. I really need to skip a page here. I'm going to skip the next 2 pages because it's basically showing how they're going through over and over the cycle. The witches kill a bunch of men. The men kill the witches. It's a back and forth battle between them. But the witches keep coming back, and they're trying to keep a world from being controlled by the witches. Then we get this 2-page spread for Border Town. I'm only stopping on this because it's really interesting. The new kid, the spooky girl, the brainy Jacques, the luchador. Okay, so we know who the luchador is. We know who the new kid is. But the two other characters, I didn't know that one was supposed to be a spooky girl, and I didn't know she was supposed to be a brainy jock. The only thing we've seen spooky about her was when she made all the drawings over and over of the chupacabra. So, yeah, we're not even getting what they're trying to say. God, got me distracted by this horrible book. That's what happens when you put a 2-page ad for it in the middle of this. So we cut to New Orleans, LA, back in 2005, which would have been Katrina. And we see once again that um, the witches are out killing people. Aaron, this is his father. We do find out this is important, so that over 15 years, almost 15 years ago now, 13 years, is when his father was killed by the witches, and you know, just like she killed his father and his father too for centuries back. So while the Gabriel family has been hunting the witches, they've been hunting each other. So Gabriel comes back to this group he's with, the witch hunters. Um, some of you were in the generation of his and knew him. He didn't die easily. No Gabriel ever has. My father fought and failed, just like we keep failing. You've been away, Aaron. You don't know. I'm not attacking you, Trent. I'm telling you, it's time for vengeance. My vengeance. While I was away, I did a lot of reading, a lot of listening, and a lot of thinking about them and about us. So he's been doing research into this, and he's going to try something that's never been tried before. A willing kiss from a mortal pure. So he lays out his plan. In my research, I've discovered some of the secrets. Love is the answer. A willing kiss from a mortal pure. It's part of the spell, and something we've never tried. And he says, we don't need any magic wands. Not when we have a nuclear bomb. So it looks like we have maybe one of the witches back here. It's interesting that earlier in the narration, he does say something about calling them loveless. But in his learning, he learned the stuff he's learned. He's going to try something that's never been tried. A willing kiss. And then we just get this black page. 3 years later. And it goes to the Stepford wives, living in kind of like a almost 50s style. The guys all have to go to work early. You see this, firefighters are working overtime. The fires are ravaging the area. Look at another scorcher today. Most are blocked, starting at the morning glory circle. So yeah, you're going to see in a minute here. Not a car in sight. All the men have abandoned us. So then all the women come out. They start talking to one another. Come on, focus. Uh, that's a grim way of putting things, Isadora. Did your husband run off too, Nadia? We love them, we care for them, we nurture them, but they don't have time for breakfast with us anymore? Architecture waits for no man, I guess. Think of it this way, more coffee for you. Oh, good heavens, you know I can't have all that acid in my system. And there goes Rebecca's husband, too. Oh, thank goodness he's gone. Now I can drink my coffee in peace. Oh, Becky, you're so bad. And so we have all the neighborhood women coming out, and you realize this is the coven. Aaron's plan worked. And his plan was to bring them basically subservient 1950s type thing. Um, and they are playing the kind of clueless women. Um, if my husband wants me to know, he'll tell me. Besides, I'm too excited to share about my day as soon as he gets home. I call it the daily download. It makes him laugh. So, um, well, I'll get my quality time. Ryan promised to take me to the state fair on Saturday. And, don't be silly, girls. We're not going anywhere. Um, the fires, the whole horizon is in flames. Um, so I'm wondering if this is part of Aaron Gabriel's plan, if this is just coincidental, if this is something that they're doing to basically block the witches into this suburban society. You can already see where this is going, the last page reveal, but so the girls go and they're still kind of having their hanging out, their martinis, and I told Eric that I could not bake one more cake. I make him a cake every day. The man loves cake. So I told him, I'm clever, you know. I've always had a good sense of design. You've seen my sitting room. Do you know what Eric did? And then something happens. Kind of the perspective, reality starts changing. And sorry, I went somewhere for a moment, Nadia. You want to be an architect? I could, yes. And Bradley gave me a enormous stack of books to read, and then another stack. And he said, if you get through these, you'll know a fraction of what I know, and then we can talk about it. So what did you do? What could I do? I made a cake. You silly women, you see, you can't be doing stuff like reading and doing books. I get the point, I just couldn't resist. Um, so it goes on. The girls are, talking. Um, one of them tries to light up a cigarette, but no, it's for the ashtrays for cigars. We'll go outside and smoke. So yeah, they go on for a little bit, and we get this little scene with this super fat cat, which appears to belong to one of the younger witches, who apparently is a daughter. She's a stepdaughter. So I have a feeling that cat is going to be important, like one of their familiars. So when Rebecca goes to light her cigarette, it explodes in huge flames. Wow, that's crazy! Ha ha ha, this piece of junk must be broken. The wildfires have nothing on you, Becky. We should get home. So, um, she's, kind of, the reality's starting to fall apart. She drops a glass. Her husband calls. Oh, hello, Doc. Now, that's a nice thing there. A nice rotary phone to really give it that 50s era. God, people watch this video probably don't even remember rotary phones. I had a rotary phone when I was a kid. Wow. Oh, I just had the girls over for a tipple, and we were outside then while Mabel smoked a cigarette. Oh, no, of course not, darling. I must really put the chicken. You're so thoughtful. Of course I'll be careful. Well, I don't want to cut myself either. What would you say to a cool martini waiting for you? That's what I thought. So she's cleaning the mess, making dinner. Um, all perfect. Done. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Will my husband be home in time for... And the door opens, and yeah, the big reveal. It's Aaron. I mean, we knew this was coming. Honey, I'm home. Aaron, darling. How about a willing kiss, Mrs. Gabriel? So yeah, they found a way. Next sounds ominous. So yeah, they finally found a way to get an upper hand on the witches. Um, you know what? This book, I wanted to rip it to shreds. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's better than I thought. I actually kind of got hooked onto it. Now, I will say there are some tonal things. What we see in the first half, the bloody witches, war versus men, and then we get to the, as I said, the kind of Stepford Smilers, um, kind of idyllic life here going on. I think this goes on for a little bit too long. Um, because pretty much once all the men disappear, the last page reveal is not really a good enough twist. You could see it coming a mile away. Um, I think this part goes on a little bit too long, to really show that they're shells of their former selves. Um, and so you do kind of root for these murderous witches. Um, you don't want to see them in this, fantasy 1950s era where they're all forced to be June Cleaver. It's really icky. But but one thing that is a little understated on here that I did kind of enjoy, um, and make sure I don't flip to the pages of that I haven't shown, is that there's no real good guy or girl in this case. Um, the witches are shown to be kind of monsters, but at the same time, the men are no better. Um, so it's kind of subtly complex. Um, you don't really know who to root for because, yeah, well, the men are hunting down the women, for being witches. Um, but we see that the witches, I should have shown those pages. I should have shown different pages. Um, the pages I skipped show them through the years as they're basically killing one another. There's no real good side in this. No one you can really root for. Not obviously Hex Wives. Like these are supposed to be the protagonists. These are the ones that we're supposed to be rooting for. But they're not really shown in the most pleasant light either. Um, there's, it doesn't look like it's completely self-defense that they're killing all the men. Um, after they get killed and come back, they could easily just kind of go underground and, kind of hide. And it looks like they were doing that, but yeah, something seems a little off tonally here, and I'm not sure if we're supposed to be, rooting for them or you go, girl, you show those evil men. But this could have came off very misandrist, and it didn't. Um, and yeah, uh, we finally have peace for 3 years between the two. We just had to control the women. Kind of unfortunate implication there. Um, so yeah, I don't know what to make of this. I actually kind of enjoyed this. This is a little bit every problem I had was Border Town not being subtle and you know I'm half Mexican. Y- No, this is I like this book. I I actually ended up liking this, and I really expected not to like it. I expected, like I said, I wasn't even going to pick it up. I only picked it up because it came out on Halloween, and yeah, I enjoyed this book. It's weird, and the more I talk about it, um, the more I think more about it. I'm going to pick up the next issue. Um, yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. This was not bad, not excellent. It has some room to grow. Like I said, it's a little the pacing's a little off. I think tonally, I'm not quite sure where they're going with this. Yeah, this part goes on way too long. This could have been shortened quite a bit. But this was a good book. I'm really interested to see where this goes, and it doesn't have to be all blood and action and all that. Like I said, I did have to censor some parts there, um, but yeah, it's almost kind of psychological. Are they going to stay in this world? Is it going to come right back out immediately? I kind of want to see this Fantasyland go on for a while and as they break free. So anyway, I can't believe I've already talked 20 minutes on this. So anyway, yeah, I would recommend this book. I enjoyed it that much. I'll give it a recommend, a weak recommend. It's not for everyone, I know that, but it could have been so much more political, so much more SJW, and it wasn't. You know, who's this Ben Blacker? I don't really know who he is. And the art wasn't bad. I enjoyed the art. In the early parts, where it's more brutal, and then you get to the 50s era, and where everything's calm and peaceful. It, was this the same artist all the way through? They did a great job in that. So yeah, I enjoyed. I give this a recommend. So anyway, I'll be back in if not tomorrow, day after, because Heroes in Crisis #2 came out this week, as well as West Coast Avengers. And I guess I gotta get the stuff I liked out of the way first, right? So anyway, as always, thanks for watching.